I'm gonna get rid of my gum. There's a lot of traffic here. So you're looking at maybe switching companies, and these are tough decisions. There's a lot to be considered about this. And in this particular case, there is somebody who you know, and they are trying to get you to go over there. Should you go? Should you not go? Why would you? Why would you not? I want to break it down, give you my take on it from my personal experience. Good idea, bad idea? Well, it depends. And we're going to talk about that. So,
in a world of polished perfection where authenticity feels rare, I'm here to offer something different. Raw honesty and real experiences. I'm Matt, and this is my YouTube channel. If life has taught me one thing, it's that we're capable of so much more than we imagine. I'm driven by endless curiosity and a need to learn new things, to fill each day with new wisdom and new experiences. This is my attempt to find my voice, to share my journey, to see where it all leads. For me, this isn't just content. This is the beginning of something new. Join me as I figure it all out. Beyond the map lies adventure. Welcome to uncharted territory.
I was very lucky that I had a couple really good mentors in my career. Fantastic. I mean, like, amazing. So that was a really good experience for me. And I only tell you that because the person that I knew at the other company was one of my mentors. And that, and so it doesn't matter, in your particular case, is it somebody who is a mentor who you got, who you look up to a lot, respect a lot, something like that type of scenario? Or is it a best friend or a close friend? Or maybe it's your boss. Maybe your boss leaves and then they go somewhere else and they're like, hey, I want to, I've heard this before. Hey, wherever I land, I want to bring you with me. You got to be really skeptical of that, right? Because if somebody leaves, they're probably not happy. And if they want to take you, it's probably not just about you. And this is my advice, right? If you're going to go to another company where you have a relationship with somebody there, you got to look at how long have they been there. In my case, that person hadn't been there very long. And you want them to have a real lay of the land. It can take a year before a person really figures out, am I a good fit for this company? Is this company a good fit for me? So if that person's only been there for, a few months, let's say, that's really not enough time. And, oh, it's great, I want to, come on over. It's like, well, they've only dipped their toe in the water. They don't really know if it's good for them, much less if it's good for you. So I would say have some patience about it. If they haven't been there very long, that's going to be a red flag. Do not just, let's make a rule. Don't follow somebody to another company if they've been there less than a year. Just say no, be patient, let it simmer. So, okay, so then here's the thing about this as well. When you follow somebody to another company, a lot of companies have referral programs. Maybe for you it's not that, I don't know, but one way or another, there's a referral happening. So whether that program is formal or not, you are associated with that person. You might think, well, I wonder if I can take my sunglasses off. Yeah, it's not too bright out anymore. So here's this is kind of along those lines of that person maybe hasn't been there long enough. Is the person that I followed was not a good fit for the company. And, what's interesting is that person and I are very similar type people. We have very similar, what would you say? Very, very similar ideas, very similar philosophies. very similar approach. And his ideas and philosophies and approach were not appreciated at that company. And so you can guess mine weren't either, right? He didn't fit in, and so therefore neither did I. And at a certain point, it became, pretty obvious for him that a change needed to be made. And that change was made. And I was left, wondering how long before they come for me. Because when that person left, one person in particular was like really upset about this, right? And that guy had a lot of power and authority, certainly the power and authority to make employment decisions about me. So, he got pretty emotional about the whole thing, and that put me on the chopping block, right? So I remember right when I was in college, I had just done an internship. I had a great internship. I was so excited. I think I was contacted about an opening at the company, and I was like, oh, I know the right dude. So I was like, bro, there's an opening at the company I just interned at. They're awesome. You'll love it. It's great. Fantastic. And he was like, awesome. So I called and I told this senior manager who I'd never met at the time, hey, I got a guy. And I just remember he was really serious about this. He was like, how well do you know him? I just remember being kind of taken aback by that. Like, we go to school together. I know him. He's a good guy, good teammate, pulls his weight, does good work, gets good grades. We get along really well. And then he kind of interrupted me and he said, well, are you sure that you want to associate your name with him? And I was like, this made me really nervous. Like, this guy had a really fancy title, and here I was like, I just interned with these people, and it was so intimidating. And I was like, I think it was awkward. And anyway, like after that, like I scared me to death. I never referred anybody to the company ever again. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, associate my name with somebody. What a risk. And so I never ever referred anybody. So anyway, we really think about referrals that way, like me referring somebody to the company I'm at. And the name association. In this video, I'm asking you to think about the opposite of that, which is, should I take a referral from somebody because my name will be associated with them? And I can tell you in my case, that did not go well. And you're probably thinking like, well, why didn't you just, what did you do? Did you leave? Did you stay? What happened? Well, I'll tell you very candidly that there were some, I'll just say, health insurance related reasons. I'll put it that way. But I knew that it was only a matter of time. You could tell. So that's all I say to you is just be careful about that name association thing, because you might find yourself on the chopping block if, it could happen. So I would just be careful with that. Here's another thing about this that I want to highlight. Part of me following that person to that company centered around a scenario that was supposed to play out. I need to get out of this lane. This lane is really slow. So, and we're going to get over now. Cool. So here's what happened though. When I went over there, that scenario, it did not play out the way they said it was going to play out. So I have followed somebody to a new company, and the Swiss cheese, the holes in the Swiss cheese are starting to stack up, right? And now the scenario behind me even being there is not transpiring the way it was foretold to be. The whole situation turned very untenable. And I persevered through that. I'll just say this, for me at that time, There are things that are more important than your job satisfaction and your whether or not you're valued and appreciated or feel that way. There's more important things than you. You are probably like me. You have people who you love and love you and depend on you, and it's not all about you. So you have to remember that too. I would take that into account. So if you follow somebody, get over there. There's been some promises made, and those promises aren't coming true. You really need to think about things. As a pilot, when you're flying cross country, you give yourself an out, right? Like, I'm not just going to fly to this airport. There's going to be airports along the way. So if I lose an engine or have some sort of issue in the air, I'll have an out. I can deviate from the plan. I can divert. Well, you got to think about that. When you follow somebody to another company, are you going to be in a position where you cannot divert? There's no plan B. This needs to work out for you. I found myself in that position. Now, in my particular case, there is no way I could have anticipated that. Health stuff is a lot of times totally unforeseen, right? So there's no way I could have known. But do think about that. Do I have a support system over there? In many ways, me following that person over there was fantastic. And there were a lot of wonderful things about it. Unfortunately, there were some of the more macroscopic things that did not go well. And some of that I could have anticipated if I would have thought a little bit deeper about the decision I was making. Some of that there's absolutely no way I could have anticipated it. Overall, am I glad I did it? Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot through the experience. And that's the way I choose to look at things. That's the way I choose to look at life. We can't know the future. Only God knows what's going to happen tomorrow. You do the best you can with things, I guess. In my case, it wasn't family. I think if you're going to do that, that's a whole nother level. I would be really careful with that, especially if there's like a last name shared. I don't know about that. Think hard. Maybe it'll be great, but you're definitely going to be associated with them. And you gotta remember too, you don't totally know how that person's regarded at that company. I've seen it in my career. There's been people who work at the company who share the same last name. Oh, my wife's calling. Hang on. I'm recording on YouTube.
Babe, you better not record that, eh?
I was going to ask you if you would like to go on a dinner date.
Where at?
Well, there's a local spot near the house that serves good food and cold beer. And after this long week, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. What do you think?
Yeah, not good. What's it called?
Well, I'm on YouTube, so I don't know if I should say. Okay, so all I was gonna say was that I've seen it where you're like, oh, if that person is that person's son or daughter, like, okay, they must be good. But I've also seen it the other way where you're like, oh, that person's related to that person. Hopefully the apple falls far from the tree. Sometimes it's just nice to have a clean slate. So, hey, if your mom or dad works somewhere and you want to go there, good luck with that. Hey, if they're well respected, then wonderful. But I don't know. Good luck. I think that's really all I would say about it. I want to emphasize the decision that I made was a really great decision in a lot of ways. Ultimately, it didn't work out. And part of the situation, there were some really tough times and tough moments that I had to endure throughout that. And it just taught me that, be very thoughtful about following somebody somewhere, or joining, or yeah, there you go, or joining somebody somewhere. Be thoughtful about that. I'm sure I didn't cover nearly enough in this video. There's so much it's a very complicated decision. There's a lot to take into account. I don't want to talk you out of it, because it could be fantastic for you. But I just want you to know that you still have to consider the employment opportunity totally separate from that person working there, and evaluate the opportunity and the company completely on its own, and separate that away. Life is complicated, so think it through. Can I see the bunny? I don't think, maybe the camera can see the bunny. Can you see the bunny? What's his name, babe?
Sunny.
Yeah, she calls him Sunny the bunny.
She has a boyfriend. So we're gonna see little baby bunnies everywhere.
I'm pretty sure there's like 100 bunnies out here, and every single one is different. You call each of them Sunny the bunny. That's my theory.
No, I already left their lettuce last time.
I don't know why you leave them lettuce. There's grass everywhere.
She ate it. She was so like, oh, this is caviar to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
this is
gourmet romaine.
it's way better than Bermuda.
Oh.
Okay, so we're going to drive to where we're going to have our dinner date. And while we drive there, I'm going to get your take on what I've been talking about. Should you go? Like, is that a good thing?
Oh, like they're trying to lure you to their company.
Yeah.
Okay, well, ¿cuánto? Mula.
That's a good...
Let's start there. That's a good start.
Well, let's pretend like the money's good.
Okay. Then I say yes.
Okay. That's it, huh?
Okay. So what do I think would be important?
Yeah.
I would say this person has been in the company for a while. So maybe ask about the morale. But see, I don't know how well that worked, because remember when we went to...
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be specific about things like where we went. No, you can't say either.
Best state in the USA.
So, let's turn some lights on. So now I got light on you. Okay, so just a few more thoughts,
It makes it easy. It makes it easy going into a company, right? Like having a friend in school or something, like getting them in the same class. But not necessarily is always a good thing, because your story with John Doe, they were still pretty new. They didn't know the whole morale. Everything started unwinding as the year passed by. Then you guys started seeing, the colors of certain people in the company, and started seeing how there was everything that they say that bias and what do they call it? Favoritism, yeah. So then all of that started unwinding as you guys were kind of in there, and then the morale was pretty bad to some people. If you were not in the group, then that's when they started treating you bad. So yeah, I don't think necessarily just because you know somebody in there. I think you got to do your homework. You got to investigate the company. You got to maybe, what is that one website? Glassdoor that, people are talking in the company, and maybe read through that, and then see what they have to say, like the pros and the cons. And then you got to kind of do yourself pros and cons to you. Like, okay, so people say it's good morale, but I don't know.
Always check Glassdoor. Just to finish our... okay, we're going this way.
I'll guide you.
Okay. Yeah, so work-life balance...
Okay. Morale.
There's like multiple implications of that, because if you know somebody at the company, you might be inclined to work even harder You know, because like you know somebody, you don't.
Yeah, because that's again going to you are now trying to make them look good because they brought you.
You want to make them look good, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna end the video here, guys. I'm not supposed to say guys. I'm supposed to talk to the person.
And girls.
What? No.
And everyone in between.
I'm gonna end the video here. You go in here and get a beer and a bite and enjoy after a long, hard week. Hope this helped. Hope you found some value in this. Thank you guys, and good luck.